I opened Capstone Marketing about 4 years ago after working for a large corporate company that did marketing, and I really wanted to phone in more of the local feel. So I started Capstone, and it's kind of flourished from there.
Welcome to Beyond the Swag, Merch is Media, the podcast where we go beyond logos, giveaways, and leftover budgets and talk about how branded merchandise actually functions as marketing, media, and brand experience. On this show, we sit down with founders, operators, and brand leaders to unpack the real decisions behind the brands you see. What works, what doesn't, and how the details people overlook often make the biggest impact. I'm your host, Kevin Patrick. This is Beyond the Swag. Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Swag podcast. I'm super excited for today's recording to have Ashley Nardini from Capstone Marketing, located in Benton, Louisiana. I was trying to have Ashley be the first guest, but she kept pushing me off a little bit. But because you've had me on your podcast, I thought it was only fitting for you to come back on. But I'm super excited to have you, a industry friend that we met, not too long ago. But we kind of hit it off from our viewpoints of things. Yep. So Ashley, thanks for coming on the show today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I opened Capstone Marketing about 4 years ago after working for a large corporate company that did marketing, and I really wanted to phone in more of the local feel. So I started Capstone, and it's kind of flourished from there.
It definitely has. Sometimes I'm jealous of how good. Sometimes I'm jealous. I'm like, dang. You want to hire me? I actually texted you that the other day.
I know, you did.
Well, we'll get right into it. And I told you I wasn't going to pick on you, but I'm going to pick on you. You told me that you don't use promotional products. Do you still stand by that?
Well, Kevin, after talking to you, I can no longer stand on it. I didn't. Okay, so look, I'm a digital company, right? So I do everything Google. Social media, Google, anything on your desktop or mobile device, that's me. I'm your girl. But there is clearly a distinct difference between digital promotional and what I would call probably more traditional, and not really like the traditional, it's old feel, but more of the physical, right, promotional item. And so, no, I did not realize that I do thank you cards and like little cards that I send out to clients, that's considered promotional. I had no clue that that's what that was.
Yeah, and I think it happens more often than you think. Yeah. With especially like you said, you're digital marketing. Like you're very, I don't want to say niche in marketing, but you're like, branded touchpoints. And I was like, hey, what about your thank you cards that you send out, to these? And they're like, well, yeah, but you don't consider it promotional products. But I guess the question is, if it's not promotional, right, then what is it? What would it fall under? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but it's a thought process for multiple people. Like anything we're putting our logo on is promoting our brand, and it's a product. No. And that's the whole point of Beyond the Swag is, there's so much beyond what we're actually making from a physical standpoint, right? Or physical marketing where you're digital marketing, but they have to work together because our products should be supplementing the stuff that you're doing online.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And I think it's important for people, business owners, agency owners, promotional owners to acknowledge the fact that I do digital, you do promotional, right? And it's way too hard for a digital marketer to also do
promotional. I tried it. You can call me out. Yeah, you can call me out. No, that's how we met. We met because I was picking your brain about digital marketing and trying to. When I first launched KP Innovations, we started as promo because that was my background. I had the golf apparel brand, I had the streetwear brand, and I was like, no, I want to be that marketing agency that does everything. And I had no idea the digital side, and I was picking your brain about it. And finally, I texted him like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's too much. And there are companies out there that do handle it, but they're a lot larger than I am. They're a lot larger than you are, and they have teams that can do it. But you got to get yourself to that scale. But you're absolutely right. I mean, they're two different things, and unless you have the bandwidth for employees, you can't. I've tried it. You can't do it.
Well, and I think the reality is if you're a small business owner, you tend to not have somebody in-house that's doing all the marketing. You're typically outsourcing or hiring somebody to do your digital, your promotional, your billboards, your media buys. You've got separate people doing all of that. And the problem that I see that comes in is the brand is not cohesive. And so that's what's been so great about meeting you, is that I've been able to introduce you to people that I work with from a digital side, and I can just seamlessly come to you and go, hey, here's their brand, here's their hex codes that we want, these are the do's and don'ts that we don't want associated with their brand. And you and I can kind of work together and go, okay, how do we make this brand almost like a brand family is what I would call it. Instead of everybody doing something a little different, you and I can just go back to the client and go, hey, here's where Kevin and I work together to build your brand, and this is what we've come up with. And it makes the process so much easier on the business owner when you've got somebody that's got their own niche product working together and then coming to you, as opposed to them trying to filter it. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And I love sending people to you because you not only do you take care of them, get results, and create awesome websites, and do a phenomenal job on marketing, but you look at your clients the same way that I look at my clients with KP Innovations. Like, you're not just a vendor.
Yep.
Like, you are an extension, like you are their marketing team, and now we are a part of that marketing team. And we have this conversation. Our industry, gosh, it's so broken, where it became very reactive, and it kind of always has been reactive, right? We want people have to come to us to order, right? But it's become this like catalog pushers. Hey, here's a catalog of stuff to do, and there's no strategic thinking. Like you said, like we work together, and it's like, hey, we're getting ready to do this marketing campaign. What can we create that is going to supplement what we're doing? And we figured this out as two marketing experts, and we go back to the client, and they're not doing that much. What they're doing is, hey, we have this trade show that we're going to. Hey, we have this event. We have this, something coming up. Here's our budget. What is the best possible thing we can come up with? And the same thing, for you in marketing. Hey, here's my marketing budget. This is what you got to work with. How can we maximize, everything that we're going to do for that? And it leads to something with kind of the psychology behind this is like, why does sending something physical, why do you hit differently than sending an email? We live in a society now where we get bombarded from text messages and emails constantly. I mean, my phone, the worst thing I ever did was get a business phone and a personal cell phone, because now I got two phones constantly, ringing all day. But why do you think sending something physical hits different?
I think that, well, first of all, in marketing, you've got to have 7 touch points. That's the standard. How many times can you get your brand in front of somebody? And I think that if you do it all singular in just one fashion, they're going to get, for example, I just got off the phone with one of my roofing clients, and we were running some CTV ads for them for brand awareness, but we've been running them for so long. What ends up happening is you start losing followers. You get people that see the brand and they swipe because they're just bored. They're tired of seeing the same thing over and over. But I also think it's twofold. We live in such a digital world that sometimes it's really nice to get something physical. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, sometimes it's nice to be able to put your hands on something. And so I think that there's a balance that you have to have when you live in a world of digital, and we're so inundated with things digitally, whether it's text messages, videos, Google. I mean, you're looking at all these things, but if I can put my brand, right, as a marketing agency in their hand as they are signing contracts at a personal injury law firm, they're going to see my brand all day, every day.
Yeah.
Every single time. Maybe when they're drinking their coffee, they're going to drink it out of a Capstone marketing mug and they're going to see my brand all day, but they're also going to get hit with that email. They're going to get maybe a text from me. They're going, and so they're going to get the sponsorship ad that I did on social media. And so it's just how many times can I get my brand in front of them before they're just like branded out and dead, which I think is why you've got to have the variety between it. I mean, I think that's why it's so important to have the physical items just as much as the digital items.
For sure. Yeah. The digital items definitely help, supplement the physical product, right? Because we can we can grab and touch people different ways from a digital aspect.
Yep.
But having that physical, like, it just shows you care more.
Yep.
Like, it's very easy. And look, it's very easy to do it from a physical standpoint.
Right.
But it's also more expensive, right? But like, I could add 100,000 people to an email sequence. Sure, I could add 100,000 people to a physical, but it's going to cost me a lot of money, especially if I'm doing something that is actually going to make a difference. Yeah. So when you get that piece, it's different. Like, it's tangible versus digital noise. Like, you went just one step further, like you said, like a plumbing company that creates a cool mug for their clients, or somebody takes from a trade show. Now when my pipes burst, my favorite coffee cup, because it keeps my drink warm, and
is the one I remember.
That's the one I remember, and I'm going to call them. And now one of our 7 touch points got us a client, and now our job is to retain a client. And how do we do that? We're coming up on Customer Appreciation Day, next week. But yeah, I mean, and you kind of just did something like this, and it worked out very well from you. Walk us through the cookie story.
So I send out my clients every holiday, well, not every holiday, every Christmas holiday, they get cookies from us that we order from another local company. They get, however many we want to send, but they may get 6 that are non-branded and 6 that are branded with our logo. And so this year I decided to do something a little different. While I normally just send it to the current clients, this year I decided, let me put, 6 to 10 that I want to do business with, and I'm going to send them my branded cookie. I know that their current marketing company isn't doing stuff like that. They're not even sending them anything for a holiday. They're getting nothing physical. And so I'm like, how am I going to make myself different? And so I sent this particular company a set of my cookies. And when I went in to see them last Thursday, I sent him a text probably. So if that was in December, I sent him a text in February just to let it sit for a little bit. And then I came back and I said, hey, I'd love to look at your marketing for you. I hope you enjoyed the cookies that I sent you at Christmas time. His immediate text to me was, can you meet tomorrow or next week? I dropped everything because I know the value of this client. Yeah. I know if I get this client, it's going to be a great client. I said, absolutely, I'll be there tomorrow. It was an 1.5-hour drive for me to get over there to see them. He signed my contract on Monday. And when I got into his office, he was like, hey, I just want you to know, I've had your name on my whiteboard to give you a call since I received the cookies. I've just been slammed. I'm so sorry. So this tells me next year, even though I spent a lot of money on all those cookies, his one deal paid for every client's cookies that I did. So just one deal. And it's probably 1 month of one deal that it paid for not only my current clients' cookies, but also my prospecting ones. So again, I think it goes back to that physical touch. I had my brand on the cookies. I also then followed up a little bit later, which you tend to want to follow up before that. But I know that for this particular industry, follow up in January is absolutely a terrible idea. And so I just played the cards right. But I mean, it worked out really well for me.
Why cookies?
Well, because you're eating them and they're sweet. And I think probably because while you're eating them, you're also eating the brand. It kind of sounds a little weird, but I mean, he's physically having to look at it every single time they're eating the cookies. And again, because they're branded, I know their other marketing company didn't do that. And so again, it goes back to why the physical. Well, nobody's doing that anymore. People don't do that anymore. How am I going to set myself apart? Is I'm just going to order something for them that they can remember. And it's the holidays. It's like the one time of year that you're excused for the amount of stuff you eat. So why not cookies?
Yeah, and it goes down to you created something you knew people were going to use. In this case, they were going to eat.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It's not this trinket that is going to end up in a trash can that you spent money on, and yes, it might work, but chances are it's probably going in the trash can. No, like, nope. If they're not going to, if the main lawyer wasn't going to eat them, they're going to give them to a staff member. But your brand's still there. If the owner of the roofing company doesn't like cookies or doesn't like sugar cookies, and that's what you got, like, they pass them along. And now there's more. He saw it, but somebody else saw it, even if it's outside of the company. And that's part of the reason. Like, that is why this podcast started, was because a lot of people just add their logo on stuff, not thinking about anything other than, oh, we need to throw out a physical product.
Well, because everybody else has that. Well, yeah, but if everybody else always has it, that doesn't mean that it works.
And it's not going to stand out.
You can do, yeah,
and it's not going to stand out. Yeah, like if you sent out chapstick and their old company was throwing chapstick, you're not standing out. They're going to be like, okay, another marketing agency gave us chapstick. We already have a marketing agency. They also send us chapstick. Yeah. Great. No, you gave them cookies. And now if they're great cookies, like, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, and they're going to keep their...
And I'll tell you, just to like your point that you're saying, these cookies are like individually wrapped, every single one of them, for sanitation, shipping. And so just like you're saying, they took home those cookies. One of my clients told me about it. They took a bunch of the cookies home to their spouse. Their spouse then saw my logo, and I actually had their company call me wanting to do business with me. So it was almost like twofold. I mean, just like you're saying. I mean, it was kind of a handoff, and I got more than just one person looking at them.
Would you sign this client without doing this?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a true answer. I have no idea. I know that, I mean, I reached out to him 2 years prior and didn't sign him 2 years ago. I think that he saw the effort that was being put in and that I kept pursuing him. And again, it was unique. I stood out. I wasn't doing the same thing that everybody else was doing, you know, the same, like you said, like the chapstick. It's always a bad chapstick. It never is flavorful. It always stinks. It was the cheapest bottom of the barrel chapstick that everybody else sent them, and it just went in the trash. So I don't think I would have, honestly, because if I would have, I'd have signed them 2 years ago.
Yeah, and you touched on this a little bit, you know, with your ROI on it, and that their one deal paid for the cookies and is 1 month. Like, talk to me more about, like, doesn't have to just be this case, right? But just like the cost versus the client value. Like, everybody hears the term, you got to spend money to make money, but like that's a very open-ended phrase. Like, it really is. Again, we can spend a lot of money on terrible stuff and it does nothing. Yeah, you might get some money, but like this case, you know, you invested some money, and usually it's for clients, and this time you went out, you know, you went over budget, and I know how hard that is for you.
Yes. You know, I don't like to spend money.
You know, you yell at me all the time for it, but like, talk to me about like the cost versus, because we just did the same thing. We just did a chocolate promo item where we got mini chocolate bars, put them on a little wooden pallet coaster, and made it look like roofing shingles. And we had it wrapped with our brand, and we sent them to clients. One very large client that I have to do everything I possibly can to keep happy, because them alone could just be my sole client business. I mean, now obviously that's a risky business move for anybody, but you know, they ordered 3 different orders within the first month of the year as brand new client, and they're an $8.8 billion company.
Yeah.
And so, you know, one, it was something different. Nobody sent them this. I know that for a fact. And they've actually now told me now that they have them. 2, it was relatable. It fit the industry. It was a cute little product of, you know, it looked like a pout of roofing shingles being delivered to their company. And we also sent it to one of our roofing clients, and he got him. He goes, dude, this was awesome. How much are they?
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to figure this out, you know, for us. So talk to me about that investment into, you know, that cost versus the client value.
Yeah. Well, I think you always have to make sure that whatever you are going to order makes sense, for the industry that you're trying to target to, but also from a financial perspective. I'm not going to send a potential promo product to a client that has no website at all. And that you would think that that might be somebody that I want to do business with, right? I'm in the business of doing website design. But if they don't have a website, it's because they probably don't see the value of having a website. And so I'm going to spend more time, effort, and money trying to teach them the value of a website than if I just made myself unique to somebody that I already know wants that type of marketing or wants that information. So I'm working on another promotional product, and it's a physical one, and I've sent it to you. I don't want to mention it though, because I don't want anybody else to know what it is yet. So I'm working on this physical product, and it's a little bit more expensive, but I've got 30 people that I'm targeting. I'm being very specific about who I'm targeting. And the reality is it is more expensive, but they're gonna feel bad throwing it away because it's so nice. I mean, at the end of the day, they can't do anything with it. It's gonna be something that they look at and they're like, hey, this is really cool. I really think what it'll end up doing is then making them want to do it for their own business. So not only are you going to receive this from me and see how great we can do at doing any of your marketing, but you can also do this for your own business. And again, it's something that is going to cost me more money, but I'm being very niche in who I'm sending this to. I've picked people that I know value what I do every day already. And then when I hand it to them or mail it to them, they're not going to get a good feeling when they throw it away, even though they can't do anything else with it because it's going to be that cool. So who knows? Maybe they keep it on their desk and they just keep looking back at it. They might.
Well, and you know, I just posted something today about this, and it was, you know, people always talk about, you know, quality products are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
And my post today on LinkedIn and social was, it's really the complete opposite, right? You take, for an example, an $85 quality branded jacket that over the course of 2 years, somebody wears it, you know, 120 times, 60 times a year in 365 days. That's not a lot. Right, but it's a comfortable sweatshirt or, you know, or jacket. That's 3,600 impressions on an $85 jacket. That's one jacket, right? Now imagine you order 100 of them. We're not going to do that math. My cost per impression is less than 3 cents.
Yeah.
But now I buy a $12 jacket that somebody wears once and donates it, and I get 12 impressions out of it.
Yeah.
My cost per impression is $1, so the cheap item's 40 times more expensive because nobody wanted it.
Yep.
And I see it every day. I mean, I watch businesses waste thousands of dollars on. I'm like, wow, like I don't even want this, and I have to make it.
Right.
You know, and
I do a ton of law firms, you know that. And one of my biggest pet peeves, and I'm not even in the promotional business, is they do just the janky pins. And look, their clients have to sign the contract across the table. They've got to go to court and they've got this, I mean, it's just a horrible pin. It doesn't write well. It looks horrible. The click sounds cheap. Like what? And I'll ask my clients, I'm like, hey, look, can you do something about this? Because like, it's horrible. And so I think, to your point, not only does it cost you more because nobody wants to use that pen after they leave your office, they just toss it because it's not a good pen. It's not, you know, a felt pen. It's not a gel pen. Those are the pens people like.
Yep.
Some of those. I know. I'm telling you, I know. Lawyers are the worst about it, buying the worst pens. I'm like, dude, get a nice pen for your clients to use, you know?
Yeah.
And so like you were saying, to your point, is that it costs you more when you buy something that is not of quality. I also think it signals your brand. Are you a luxury brand? Is that the type of client that you want to bring in? Because what I'm not going to do is, if everything around me and everything you try to give me is something that I'm going to be kind to your face because I'm in the South and that's what we do, I'm going to be kind to you and take it. But as soon as I get in the car, I'm trashing it because it's horrible. I don't want to use it again.
Yeah, so, it's like conferences and trade shows. People grab it because it's free.
Yep.
They feel obligated just to grab it, but that doesn't mean they're going to utilize it.
No, they get right in their car, they look at the bag, and they go, okay, what do I want to keep in here? And then they keep what they want, and they trash the rest.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a trade show, and you get one of those, you know, woven tote bags, and you throw everything in it. I don't even know where that bag goes, but I know it doesn't make it home with me. I have no idea whether I leave it in my hotel room or I drop it, leave it on a table talking to somebody at the
Yeah.
conference or trade show. It never makes it home with me.
No, you want
And
to get a product that they feel bad about throwing away
yeah,
because it feels good. They can use it. They'll tell somebody else about it. You want to get a product that is rememberable, that you don't want something that people are just tossing in the trash. Like, that's your money.
yeah. Well, because we had this episode with you today, we are officially launching our legal playbook, KP Innovations. We have industry-specific playbooks on how to utilize promotional products in your industry. Not necessarily the products exactly, but you brought it up, and in our legal playbook, it is the $500 an hour pen. Lawyers are not cheap. Anybody that has had to have a lawyer or pay a lawyer knows that they are not cheap,
Yep.
but yet they grab the cheapest pens that they use every single day. When you hear promotional products, Ashley, we're going to go back to this a little bit. What comes to mind for you? Because at first you were the person, as a marketer, right? And I joked to you, I'm like, you're a marketer. And that's why I wasn't going to pick on you. But then you're like, I'm a digital marketer. And I was like, absolutely. You're 100% right. When you hear promo, because you didn't think you utilize it, but you do. So I'm curious, when you do think of promo, what comes to mind?
When you mention promo to me, before you and I clarified, right? I think of shirts, I think of hats, I think of koozies, I think of, I guess just like the old school standard promotional items. And we're in such a different world now where, it doesn't just have to be those old school promotional items. You can still utilize those, but that's, when you say promo, that's what I think of is, the trade show that I go to and I put all the same stuff, all the same items that everybody went and bought. And I'm like, okay, let me go through, see what I want. But that's, again, I think that you've helped clarify that for me because.
And I didn't do it right away. I let you, we've talked about it and we've known each other for a little bit now. And we talked about my promo and I've thrown little hints of like, hey, like, let's work together. And you kind of ignored me with it. And I just kind of let it like keep going. And then finally, like we talked about, and I don't even remember how it came up recently before even the cookie story. And I said to you, I was like, actually, you use promotional products. I said, well, think about, and you're like, I said, well, what about your thank you cards, your welcome cards, and you're like, I just did cookies. And like, I think 2 days later, you text me about the cookies. Like, I just got this meeting and it's like, I'm dropping everything. Your clients. Let's flip this into your clients now. How could physical touch points fit you into your marketing clients strategy to supplement what you guys are doing on the physical side?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we said earlier. It's the 7 touch points. They call it the 7 touch points, not the 7 promotional touch points, not the 7 digital touch points. It's just broad 7 touch points. So I think when you put in both a physical promotional item with the digital item, it's a perfect mix in order to have brand awareness. Digital, there's a lot of things in digital marketing. That's what we call short-term marketing, which are like paid ads. It's something that if somebody does a search, they see it very quickly. But then there's also the piece that's long-term marketing, because what we don't want is that when we turn all those ads off, that nobody knows your brand. And so that's where kind of that long-term marketing is where the promotional piece can come in for us, whether that's the nice pens. It's some of the nice little phone cases that I've seen people get. Women love cosmetic mirrors to be able to put in their purse or give to their kids, And so I think that's probably where most of my clients can fit into the promotional side, is finding those 7 touch points and us going, okay, these are going to be your digital touch points, but let's also look at some more physical touch points for you.
Yeah, I think, everyone always talks about like the sales process leverage of, how can we help sell? I mean, we talk about, we always post about the five roles of promotional products, right? You have your lead generation, you have I hope I can name all 5 of these right now off the top of my head. Revenue enablement, right? Retention, referral. And I knew I was going to draw a blank on the 5th one.
That's all right.
Anyway, and I think one of the biggest things is retention. Both employee and customer retention. And I think, we'll use we'll use a law firm for example, because I know you work with a lot of law firms, and it's, when somebody has to get a lawyer, it's a very emotional process.
Yeah.
It's usually not for a good reason, and they're a lot of money, and like a lot of things have to be shifted around in our daily lives to go through this process. And I don't think people constantly, and I'm not picking on any lawyer, but like, you can secure that client for the rest of their life, and they might not ever, by giving them something like, you close a case and maybe a year later they get a branded touch point from you, a physical product, or maybe a month after, it's like, thank you for allowing us to help you support, like, to go through this process with you. And I mean, the same thing can be for a roofing company. Like, a lot of times it's not just, oh, we need a new roof, it's faded, blah, blah, blah. It's, hey, we just got a tree fall on our house. Right. We need a new roof. Well, it's an emotional thing. And people aren't going out of their way to create this emotion. Like, you can capitalize on so much from emotion, of keeping retention. And, there's so many missed opportunities on it. Like, even a roofing company coming and, leaving a branded folder with information about their company and the business card, and, maybe something that you were showing me, which I won't talk about, your little brochure thing. I don't want to hint anything else, but there's so many missed opportunities where in a funnel it makes the most impact.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And makes you stand out. And it can increase close rates. Even thinking, of a lawyer, of, a welcome kit. I mean, as crazy as that, maybe welcome kit's not the right word, right, but hey, you just gave me a $15,000 retainer. Like, here's something, because if you hire a lawyer, and you might not, hopefully, knock on wood, never need that lawyer again in your life, but a friend might, or a family member might, or whatever that case may be. And now you had such a great relationship during an emotional time, you're going to refer that person. And now a simple branded touch point just got you another $15,000 retainer.
Yep.
That you spent $100 on.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love partnering with you, because I honestly have never even considered something like that. I think that is a great idea. You've just given somebody a bunch of money. You're in the middle of an emotional, time, some turmoil maybe, and then immediately after you get that, if they were to give them some type of promotional item for whatever they're going through, that would be the best for them at this time. Again, that's why I love working with you, because I have not considered doing something like that, but I think it's a great idea for law firms. It's phenomenal. I mean, but you could do that with, like you said, roofing, HVAC, plumbing, landscaping. Like, there's tons of things that you can do. It's going to cost you something, though.
Sure.
It's going to cost you at the front.
Yeah, we have an HVAC company right now. They're looking into it. Like, we have a lot of clients with kids.
Yeah.
And their little mascot is a dog. And he goes, I want to create a stuffed animal replica of our dog. It's not cheap. He was like, dude, are you serious? This is how much it's going to cost? I'm like, yeah. Unfortunately, yes, this is what it's going to cost.
Can you imagine, though, for a second, if that kid, you know how kids are, they fall in love with a stuffed animal. Now, not every kid's going to fall in love with this particular one, but there will be a kid that would fall in love with that stuffed dog. And the parents are going to be like, I got this stuffed dog from so-and-so, and my kid lost it, and can you help me find this stuffed animal that my kid has misplaced somewhere? It becomes a thing. This stuffed dog becomes a thing, and now they're telling parents about the stuffed dog and where they even got the stuffed dog. Yep. Like, that just created an entire marketing brand for you. That's a phenomenal idea.
I mean, think about, you got 2 kids, right? Like, you see videos all the time on social media of trash guys, like, interacting with a little kid during trash day.
Yeah.
Like, and they go viral, and it's like, because they just showed a little bit, like, or the UPS driver that stops and is playing basketball with a kid or cheering them on. Like, you see these videos and they go viral every time on social media. It's because you're standing out and you're making that difference. And yeah, if you can relate to people's kids, I mean, you're winning the business.
I
Like,
don't know if I'm
and you're,
happy or mad about that now, but it will work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it might work.
don't tell your kids this episode. So they're gonna be like, "Oh, I want this company and this company," and
Yeah.
they're gonna pick the expensive ones now that they're
It's a
older.
really good idea, though. I hope he does it. Whoever, that client is, it's a phenomenal
We're
idea.
we're we're working on it. I think it was more of a, hey, right this second. I don't think the investment is we weren't budgeted for that.
Yeah.
And we're working on trying to see if we can get it down a little bit through some negotiation. But again, but it's because it's one of those things too where people think about it and are like, if I'm going to spend $15,000 on stuffed animals,
Mm-hmm.
I need like I'm not necessarily giving them the adult. So it's like it's very like something like that is it's hit or miss, right? But your clientele, and you know y there's so many ways to utilize it.
Yeah.
Do you think quality changes how a brand is perceived when it comes to physical marketing?
100%. And I say that because, I mean, even in my own marketing, I'm very particular about what I put out there about myself. I don't want you to think that I'm cheap. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a business owner, do you want to be known as the cheap one? No, neither do I. And so I put things out there, whether physical or digital, that communicate to people that I am not cheap and I am expensive, because typically luxury items, psychologically, if the item is luxury or the digital display is more of a luxury style, they're going to be willing to spend more money, and you see a decrease in them wanting to negotiate the pricing or, go, hey, I'm trying to get the cheapest stuff. So does quality matter? Absolutely, quality matters without a doubt.
And I think it's exactly you talked about it earlier, and this is why we work together so well, and we make a difference with the clients that we do work with, is we take into consideration their brand guide, and we make sure that their colors are in alignment. And we go through this whole process so that everything is on brand. It's not off brand, right? And we work to make sure, even though like we don't do everything in house, we have suppliers that we have to do stuff. We're not big enough to have all the machinery for all the different things that we can do. Nor honestly do I want all the machinery. It's more headache.
Right.
But the perception of your brand is, like you said, if you come across expensive, like I use this analogy all the time, like when talking with people that are working with me and helping me with, updating my website or, working with me on socials and all that kind of stuff. I said, I want you to, like, for KP Innovations, I want you, like, if you came to me for a pen, I want you to expect you're going to pay $1 million for this pen. So that when I tell you that this pen only costs $250,000, you don't bat an eye.
Yep.
And it's not just a perception of it, like in a roofing company, are you showcasing multiple prices? Are you showing that higher price? But also, do you look presented?
Yeah.
Are you showing up in a brand wrapped truck with a nice polo shirt, or a t-shirt that's, clean, shirt tucked in, branded folder in place, and your different little mini touch points or leave behinds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If it was between you and a guy coming out of a beat up truck wearing a white beater, and you both were at a $25,000 roof, and I don't even know how much a roof cost, right? So I could be completely off here. Who's
That's right.
Who are they picking? They're picking the guy that looks like he's going to do a $25,000 worth job versus the guy that they're not sure if they're going to get scammed.
Yep.
Like, and there's probably good companies that dress like that too, and that's fine.
But it's perception. Perception is reality for people. I mean, that is the reality of the world that we live in. I mean, I've got a law firm, and God love him. You go into he's a phenomenal attorney. I mean, really a good attorney. The problem is, and we've had to have these conversations, is that when you walk into his office, he smokes in his office. Not everybody smokes, and not everybody is going to want to be in a space where it smells like smoke. His furniture, he has gotten from the local Goodwill or just pieced together when he's upgraded his stuff. You walk in, he's not in a nice button-up shirt, and I'm like, look, I can send you all the digital leads, right? I can get you the leads.
Yeah.
Their perception when they walk in, though, is that you don't have it together. And they make that judgment within 3 seconds of walking into your office. Because I'm seeing it
100%.
in the reports that they're calling you and they're asking to do business with you, but after they come in for their first meeting, they never sign with you. And so it's the same thing. Again, it goes back to making sure your logo is the same across the board, that your colors are the exact hex code. I cannot stand it when a brand puts out something and it's just a light shift in that color. It's like, attention to detail matters, though.
Yeah.
Because it's your brand and it's how you want it to be perceived. It's important.
Yep. I'm going to hit on this real quick because from someone that is in apparel, it's completely different than everybody in marketing, and honestly, not even people that are graphic designers will do, is when you're creating your brand and you're creating your colors and all that kind of stuff, go off the Pantone system. Because the Pantone system is going to give you your hex code. It's going to give you your RGB. It's going to give you your CMYK. But from a lot of apparel standpoint, things are based off of Pantones. And we will run into a problem because the hex code and the CMYK and RGB, they are created for digital.
Yeah.
And so that's where you will run into that problem because a lot of times, like, there's not as many Pantone colors as there are hex codes. And they don't, if you take a hex code and try to convert it to Pantone, sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you're at 99%. Sometimes you're at 78%. And it's like, well, this is what we have to work with from that standpoint. And we go through it all the time. I mean, we love clients that come to us with a brand guide and we have these conversations. I mean, look, I will confidently sit on here and say, I can source and create anything a client wants. Sometimes you need to order way more than you want for us to be able to get, specific things dyed and, it's going to cost more. But definitely consider creating things. And if you do have a brand and you're not that part, I don't want to say rebrand, right? Or restructure, but edit it. Find that closest Pantone color and make that your new color moving forward. But creating, for us, we talk about it all the time. It's creating an experience versus a giveaway. You're not buying products, you're buying perception.
Yep.
I can't stand companies that buy t-shirts and they want to throw for a trade show or a conference and they want to throw their logo huge on the chest. That's not screaming branded merchandise. That's screaming, hey, we need visibility, and it's a label. Right? You think about like the company of, the brand of the shirt you're wearing, or Nike or Under Armour. Sure, they have some shirts that have, Nike big and Under Armour big, but for the most part, where's their logo? Subtle, small, in the left chest, on the sleeve, in the back neck. Why? So that you'll wear it. And every time now that you wear it, without saying screaming Under Armour, you are representing their brand. But for us, we always talk about experience versus giveaway. Hey, do you want that cheap giveaway? You're going to waste your money on it. Or do you want to create an experience on it?
Yeah. No, that's good.
Do you think physical marketing should be a system or just spontaneous gestures?
I think it needs to be a system. I don't know if that is the type A personality in me or the marketer in me. But I think it needs to be a system so that you've got standards in place and you know what the next step is. If you get a new client, what's the next move that you make? You send out that thank you card. We're so glad that you're meeting with us. And that you've chosen to do business with us. And then the next step. So I like a system because it creates repetition and it lets the client know kind of what to expect from you going forward. Also, I go back to even a law firm or a plumbing company. What's your timeline? Well, if you've got a system in place where you're sending the branded merch, then you're sending, your thank you cards or whatever your process is. If you've got something in place, they're going to also go, okay, they've got their crap together for their timeline as well. They're going to be able to get this taken care of. They're going to get this fixed on time. They're going to send me the invoice on time. And then I can move forward with whatever the rest of my tasks are for the day as the client. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, and you look at it all the time. Like as business owners, we're always trying to fine tune our processes and our systems and, creating SOPs and all this other stuff. And then when it comes to apparel, we're just like, oh yeah, hey, we need t-shirts. where did we get them? Like, where did we get them last? I have no idea. Like, that person's gone, and now we're getting them, and now our colors are different, and the shirts, the left chest is bigger because it was a new company, and we ordered it, 3.5 inches wide, and now it's 5 inches wide, and now they don't look the same. It's like, no, like, create, and people look at me all the time about it, and they're like, "What do you mean a promo system?" I mean, we talked about it before the episode a little bit, and it was, and it's like creating that standard. Hey, every single new hire is getting this new hire kit.
Yep.
Right? They're getting this quality notebook and a nice quarter zip and a personalized note from the owner or the CEO or their director, like saying, "Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
Welcome. Like, we care about you." A cheap pen and a stress ball that tells me that a company. I just posted about this yesterday. That company looks at you as a cost center.
Yeah.
Right? Versus an investment. Hey, like, because we all know it's hard to get employees.
Good ones.
It's hard to keep employees.
Good ones, yeah.
And we know that it's cost a lot with turn rates and how long it takes us to hire employees and go through that recruiting process. And, then an employee comes in for a month and they leave, and like the process and the prices, to all that, like it is.
I'm just telling you, if I start working for a company and you immediately give me a stress ball, I'm concerned. Like, why do I need this stress ball at this point?
I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Stressful that I need a stress ball from you.
That is a phenomenal point. I didn't even think about that.
It's just like you're saying, though. Be strategic. People are smart. Don't give them a stress ball. I think that's cheap. I think it's a cheap product.
I can't stand stress balls. They're one of my least favorite. It drives me nuts. I roll my eyes every single time.
It's a standard. It's a standard promo item, and I think it just needs to be taken off the face of the earth for all the reasons. Maybe lawyers have to do CLEs, right? And so they can take hours. They're required to do it for continuing education. Maybe a stress ball makes sense there. They're sitting, listening to the law all day. They like the law and they want to utilize the law. They don't want to hear about the law. So maybe a stress ball in that instance makes sense. I don't know. But companies, if you're sending out stress balls, Kevin and I, we're out on the stress ball.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is it's treating it like a campaign, right? Like we are like treat it and make it easy on your team, right? People are coming in and out. People are changing departments. Like, know exactly where you need to go to keep things the same.
Yeah.
And we create systems for people where, the company spends 2 weeks with me where, it's like, hey, for everybody's 1 year anniversary, they get this gift. For everybody's 5 years, they get this. And we go through this whole process. And obviously, the longer someone is with the company, the more expensive it is, but as it should be. Right? And we created into a system, and we connect it with their CRM or in our promo side of things.
Yeah.
And it does it automatically. We get notifications. We create the product. We drop ship it to the person's address, which is, in the CRM, ready to go. For their birthday, they get something. Like, show you care.
Yeah.
Don't show that this job's gonna be stressful because I just gave you this stressful because I just gave you a stress ball.
Yeah.
So I got 2 questions left for you.
Okay.
Has this experience changed the way you think about promotional products?
Anything that my logo is on is clearly promotional. And I think that's the takeaway that everybody needs to hear. Even as a digital marketer, I didn't realize that anything that I put my brand on, even physical, just as easy as a thank you card, is also a promotional item. So anything with your brand on it is promotional, whether it's traditional or digital.
Yeah, and everything you put your logo on is a direct representation of your brand. 100%. Right? People spend, you're in marketing, right? People spend a lot of money to market their brand. We spend a lot of money to create our brand, create our logos, create our websites. And then we throw stuff on cheap stuff, and it's like, well, why? Everything we put our logo on represents our brand. If Gucci came out with 25-cent pens, it's going to look terrible on Gucci because they're this big luxury brand. And so it's perception, right? I tell people, stop buying you're not buying products. You're not buying a t-shirt. You're buying perception. How is this brand represented? And a lot of times it's not intentional. Like you don't think about it, but you have to. Like
Yeah.
if I spend $20,000 on apparel and I don't think about it, would I ever spend $20,000 on digital marketing? That is not the top of like my A game,
Yeah.
my A performance. No, you would never do it.
Right.
You would never create an ugly billboard unless that was your intent. And again, then there's strategy behind it
Right.
to catch people's eyes. You know, people like, oh yeah, you know that KP Innovations billboard was terrible. Like, and it was reverse psychology, right? Like, and keep in mind, but like, you would never invest in our marketing, in our branding, in cheap, half-assed work.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you do it on? Why would you do it on a physical product that you're going to hand out to people? Because again, if you can create stuff people want to keep, utilize, and wear, the more times that they showcase it. If you're wearing apparel, every time they walk out, they're a billboard for you.
Every time.
And every single time. Last question, I'm going to put you on the spot because everybody hears these things from me, but I'm someone in this industry. What is one piece of advice you would give brands about utilizing physical marketing strategically?
I think that, well, I'm going to do it twofold. I think
Sure.
that it's
Of course you are.
important. Always. I think that it's important that if you have a digital marketing company, that you allow them to also partner with your promotional company, whoever that is. You know, if it's some random person that you've always done business with, and they've got somebody else, use the person that you've always done business with, but allow the two people to have conversation. I think there's value there in making the brand stay consistent in whatever message you're trying to send. And then when it goes back to the how important and strategic should you be in the physical side, I think that it goes back to the 7 touch points.
Yeah.
Be strategic in both the traditional side as well as the digital side and merge them so that they're sending the same brand message, whether that's luxury or you're affordable, because you can be affordable and not have to be luxury. Send the same brand message, whether it's a physical product or it's digital, and make sure that the product is usable. If you're gonna send a physical product, you know, I'm of the mindset, just like my secret one that I'm doing out, they can't, you really can't use it. It's not meant to be used, and I acknowledge that, but you're gonna feel bad throwing it away. I'm not gonna let you just throw something away without going, golly, this looks so good though, or showing it to somebody else. So make sure that if you're gonna go with physical products, that it makes sense to the person you're sending it to, both in their industry as well as them as an individual. And if they're not gonna be able to use it, make them feel bad for throwing it away, man. Like, make them keep it as long as possible, you know?
No, you hit it right on the head. Our 4 key things we tell people all the time: be intentional, make it memorable, align it with your brand, right? If you're a luxury brand, stop buying the cheap stuff. It looks bad. And think about the ROI, not the cost. And that last one's hard for people because I always get, well, how can we track this? How can I track a t-shirt? Well, there are ways, but people think about it like digital marketing. You guys can track pretty much everything you guys do.
Yeah.
But I always flip it and I say, well, how can you track a billboard? Well, we got the data saying that, you know, 5 million cars are going to drive by on a Friday night. Okay. But that's not tracking it. That's just hoping, hey, we got 5 million, you know, and so it's the tracking, the thinking of the ROI, not tracking it. But, you know, your cookie story was a prime example of it. You know, you didn't think about the cost.
Yeah. Well, and I can't really track it either. I mean, unless they call me and they, want to do business with me, I can't track the cookie. But it helped me win just one. And that's all it takes. It was expensive, but I just needed one of those to win. And I feel like it's the same with promo. You can't track each individual promotional item, but all you need is one usually, if it's a luxury item.
For sure. But in a way, you kind of did track it, right? Because it was one of many touch points, and it was not probably as many as you should have used or could have used, but it still worked, right? And sometimes, yes, it's not. If I run a conference, I don't have that data in front of me. But if I'm sending a strategic campaign to, new lawyers, new roofing companies, and I got to send it somewhere, so I got to have that data with me. Like when we did the chocolate bars, the physical chocolate bar being sent was touch point number 1.
Right. And
we put in handwritten cards. I wrote a lot of them. My hand was sore for like a week, but it was like, it was a corny message. And, we had a few variations, but there were corny messages of like talking about chocolate bars and being, dentist approved and OSHA disapproved because, but it's the only shingles that they can eat. But we thought it was, we put in there something along the lines of like, we couldn't think of a better way to introduce ourselves. But then after that, they got emails, follow-up emails. They got follow-up calls. Right. I mean, we 50x'd our return on these chocolate bars. Yep. I'll do it again. I just don't feel like doing it again. Yeah. Like, and going through creating that and putting them all together, but it worked. And some people were like, well, why wouldn't you do it again? And it's like, well, now my job is to retain the people that brought in before I go on to new people.
That's right.
But Ashley, thank you so much for coming on. It's always fun chatting with you.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you changing your viewpoint on promotional products and not making me think like I'm crazy. As I once felt. But again, thank you for hopping on the show today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Thank you.
That wraps up this episode of Beyond the Swag, Merch is Media. If this conversation made you think differently about how your brand shows up, that's the point. Because merch isn't just a product, it's a message and it's media. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who should hear it. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Kevin Patrick, and I'll see you on the next episode of Beyond the Swag.